All right, we're here with actor and current life coach, Brian Patrick Murphy. Why don't you talk about your journey from where you started to want to become an actor and then transition into that? And I know you're also a partner at Mark Fisher Fitness, who we've interviewed.
Yeah. Oh, it's a wild journey, but to kind of keep it as simple as possible. Basically, I'd moved to New York when I was about 24. Started really from the bottom up, which I'm very thankful for now. There's a lot of people that I coach, we'll get into that in a minute, but a lot of people that I coach, I kind of tell them my story, which is, moving to the city, starting very, bare bones, summer stock, non-union regional theaters, and then kind of climbing my way up to non-union national tours, and then to touring Europe and Japan and doing off-Broadway shows and national tours and really good union work. And then my business partner, Mark Fisher, he and I had been friends 10 years in the acting business here in New York, and this opportunity came up, and he just kind of approached me with our other business partner, Michael Keeler, and said, hey, we have this opportunity to open this new company, Mark Fisher Fitness, this fitness thing, and we can really utilize all your skills, your kind of communication and personal skills, which is something that I always, always enjoyed and had. And then so we created this business and found a location. This is obviously the most watered down version of the story ever.
Don't worry, I'm going to dig a little deeper.
Good, I figured you
He's
would.
like, okay, the interview is 2 minutes long.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
But then I was able to, part of the business that I was more interested in kind of a grand perspective and how to help even more people out. And for me, fitness, was more about overall mind, body, and soul, and spiritual fitness, and not just about having a six-pack and lifting thousands of pounds. It was more about the kind of ability to make somebody feel better on a grander scale, whatever that may be, whether it's their health and inner health and outer health as well. And so luckily I was able to go to coaching school and get certified to be a professional life coach. And now so I utilize those skills and a lot of things that I learned, not only with personal clients that I take through the business, but also to incorporate them in our actual day-to-day offerings of our business and with our full team. We've grown from a very small team at Mark Fisher Fitness to, I think about 30 employees now. So so that's kind of like the
quick,
version.
easy version.
That's right.
If anybody wants to stop listening now, they're
that's it. That's everything you need to know.
That's everything you need to know about it. One of your bigger breaks was in Dog Sees God on off Broadway. You replaced Ian Somerhalder. What was that like for you?
Unbelievable, crazy, awesome, scary, perfect. Getting an opportunity to work with legitimately superstar, famous, TV and movie stars that were kind of just getting into their prime, who are now in every movie and TV show around, was really a great opportunity. My experience with it was a little bit different because I knew the playwright, and it was just kind of an emergency replacement. It popped up out of nowhere, where I was home visiting family, got a call from the playwright himself, who was a friend, and said, hey, can you come and do this thing? And I said, what is happening? How? No way. This was on a Friday afternoon. They said, you'll be on in the show on Sunday. I had never seen the show or read the play. Printed it out, had my family drive me to the St. Louis, Missouri airport, flew to New York City, got to the theater, the stage manager, I was trying to follow along in the show with the script. The stage manager said, oh, that's an old script, threw it away, gave me the new script. And then the story goes that I showed up at the theater the next day, went through rehearsals all day long on Saturday, and then Sunday I was on in my first show. And kind of the cooler part of the story, well, that's pretty cool itself, I think. But the even more fun part of the story is that I very specifically remember being out Sunday before we had to put in rehearsal with the full cast in the morning. And then the producer, one of the producers, took us all to lunch. I think we were like a sushi samba. I remember that for some reason. The theater was down in Union Square. And I remember sitting there when America Ferrera, at that moment, got her phone call from her agent saying that she had officially booked the role of Ugly Betty in the TV series Ugly Betty. And then my first show was directly after that, an hour later.
Wow.
Then years later, so there's another caveat to this story, which makes it even crazier. I was with Burt Royal, who wrote the play, who also wrote the movie Easy A, and he's written a bunch of pilots and other things he's doing great in LA. And years later, he didn't tell me this until years later, that morning on Saturday, whenever I was in rehearsal, or no, it was Sunday during the put-in when I was rehearsing with the company, the couple of producers came in and were watching rehearsal from the back. And if I was really terrible, they were going to stop rehearsal and they were going to cancel the show for the rest of the weekend and find somebody else, because they'd only given me a 2-day contract at the time. And they watched me rehearse. This is what Bert told me, the playwright told me, is that they watched me rehearse for a few minutes and said, he's going to be great. And then they all left and said, we're going to go on and do the show.
That's pretty cool. Daunting and cool.
I will never forget. So it's Sunday, and I'm opening the show. It's like a 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon show. I called all my friends. You know, I was dating a girl at the time. Called a bunch of other friends of mine, and they bought tickets. We were able to get tickets to the show that night. And so I'm thinking, I'm going to make my first entrance, and they're all going to scream for me. And I will never forget, I entered from stage left, and I walk on stage, and the entire audience went, it was like I could feel the air just be, because they were so terrified for me.
Yeah.
And I ended up teaching college a few years ago, and as a professor, and I remember telling my students that performance that night was the single best performance I'd ever given in any show in my entire life.
Wow.
After only a day and a half rehearsal, because I was just I'd never been able to just hyper-focus like that. And just that moment of, I don't actually know what's happening in this play. I have to listen to everything that's happening around me. It was a really great lesson in acting.
And speaking of lessons, you're now a life coach.
Yes.
Which I find an extremely interesting transition from acting to life coaching. But in a way, you can give feedback to an actor and calm them, if that's a decent way of saying it, and get them ready for auditions. Is that what your life coaching is, or is it more of, literally about their life specifically?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, kind of the two things that you're describing are both intertwined, but you're kind of describing a career coach and a life coach, which are both amazing things. What I do, kind of my niche market that I've created for myself, is to really work with, it's something I'm really interested in, to really work with a lot of young artists, because that's what I have a lot of experience in, from being a college teacher, from being an actor on every kind of level of performance and scale. And it's what I love. I still love being an actor and being an artist. So I really specialize in working with entertainers that are, I don't know, sometimes they feel stuck where they are, or they're looking for a way to kind of feel motivated to give it another shot or look at it in a different way. And I'm really able to feel connected to the business still. And I do give some advice, but it's more about listening to what they're trying to do and help point them in the right direction, help set goals that they can actually attain, and then hold them accountable for actually doing the things that they want to do. Which is really great.
And if they don't do what they're supposed to do, are they also held accountable?
Well, in the nicest possible way. I don't really have a mean bone in my body. Don't ask some of my ex-girlfriends that.
I was going to say, wait, let's do some further digging.
Yeah, you can dig further on that one, but I won't give you any names. No, but the accountability goes more like, they're paying me money. These people are paying me a decent amount of money because they want something. They're talking to me for a reason. And if they'd speak to me on Monday night, tonight, which is Monday, and then they have to call me and they're paying me another however many hundreds of dollars next Monday night, and I said, great, did you do this thing you said you were going to do that's to help you and help your career? It probably doesn't feel very good for them to say, no, I didn't do that. Or if they say, no, they didn't do it, then I can say, great, why didn't you do that? What held you back from doing that? And then the conversation goes, and we can dig a little deeper there.
Yeah, because then if you're paying for it, why are you paying for it if you're not going to do it?
Yeah, that process is literally called the buy-in process. That's the literal and figurative process. You're buying into something. If you're going to pay for it, it's the same as if somebody, we talk about this all the time in the fitness business. If you give somebody a free membership, well, there's no impetus to use it. A lot of times it's a psychological thing.
Yeah.
So, you have to actually, it has to mean something to you to do it for most people.
Now, what would you say, or what do you say, since you're a life coach, to people who are entering the business and get discouraged pretty quickly? That's probably not the business for you then, right?
Well, I don't know. I mean, that's definitely one way to look at it. I think that's very normal. I think that everybody gets discouraged in the business. I was with a friend who's a New York Times reporter. Actually, a year ago, I just saw this I looked through my calendar from a year ago. It was a year ago tonight. We went to see kind of a Hot Tin Roof together on Broadway, and he had done. His name's Patrick Healy. Hope you don't mind, Patrick. But he writes, big time writer for the Times, and he did a full, huge article on Scarlett Johansson. And so I was with Patrick, and he was talking about, well, yeah, he wouldn't mind. Of course, he wrote this in the article. He was saying that even somebody like Scarlett Johansson, the top of the top. I mean, she's been voted, by whatever magazine that is, the sexiest woman alive twice.
People, yeah.
She's in every movie you see. She's been in Woody Allen movies. She's been nominated for Oscars, I think, and Golden Globes, all these things. And he said, that even talking with her, she expressed that there's always terror that you're not going to get the job. And she says, it must look like to the outside world that this is very easy for me. And then I just gave her a rush. She goes, but 80% of the jobs that I want or that I audition for, I don't get. So I think when we're able to look at it from that perspective and know that no matter, and that's the top of the top. So if you're a young actor coming into the city, of course you're going to get discouraged. It's very easy to get discouraged. I mean, most people never book a Broadway show, or never book a TV show, or never book a First National tour, or it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. So what I really go to is to ask them, what is it they really want about being in the business, And I'd like to ask them what their definition of success is in the business. What will it mean to them to be successful in this business? And what we find out is that some people, it has nothing to do with ever being in a Broadway show. They want to feel artistic, and then we figure out what that means. Some people figure out that what they want to do is create something with their friends. They want to. I know that I had the opportunity to produce and star in a show that my college roommate got accepted into the Fringe Festival in New York, and by this time I was 32, 33 years old, and that was one of the highlights of my career. I didn't get paid a penny for it, and matter of fact, I spent a lot of money helping it get produced in every aspect of it, and it was one of the most rewarding experiences of my life, and we only got to perform it 3 or 4 times. So there's a lot of different variations of success or versions of what it may mean. And what I also find out is that no matter what level you work on, you may make $100 a week or $1 million a week as an actor, and that is absolutely not going to determine your happiness as an actor.
Right.
There are some people that make $100 a week that are miserable. There are some people that make $100 a week that are the happiest people on the face of the earth. And vice versa, there are people that make $1 million a week that are miserable, and there are people that make $100 a week. It goes every way. And I remember being 21 years old, working my first ever summer stock job when I was still in college. Making, it was nothing.
$1.80 a day.
Yeah, it was like nothing, and cleaning toilets. And I remember looking and saying, there was certain people that were absolutely miserable then, just didn't enjoy it. And they got out of the business very quickly. And there were some people that really, really loved it and knew what they were getting into and found a way to enjoy it over the years. And I think it's just really understanding what you want out of it and knowing that it is going to be hard work. If you're going to be, as you know, if you're going to be great at something, you've got to be willing to put in the work for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's what I really encourage, my clients and my students whenever I talk college to focus on.
Perfect. Thank you so much for this interview.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure meeting you, Brian, and maybe we'll do a follow-up when you are so high on Forbes 100 list.
That's right. Yeah, I hope I didn't bore any of you.
No, when you are coaching Donald Trump, we'll see.
That's right. He's going to have to pay me a lot.
That's right. Thanks so much, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.